Welcome again to Legal Talk here on eRadio with Hahn Hahn Attorneys, and today we're talking about shareholders and disputes within the company. We asked you on LinkedIn last week, do you know how shareholders' disputes can be resolved? And 67% said yes, and 33% said no. So the majority said yes, they know how. But I don't know. So let's ask Olebogeng to explain it to us today here on the Legal Talk. Olebogeng, welcome back. What are shareholders' disputes?
Shareholders' disputes involve the conflict that arises within a company, typically involving the disagreements between the shareholders themselves or between the shareholders and the company's management and directors. So in most cases, they would involve the fairness or the treatment among the shareholders, the exercise of the director's power, or the protection of minority shareholders.
Okay, and what are the common causes of shareholders' disputes, and how can they actually be resolved?
Like I said, they stem from the disagreement over the company's direction, the management decision, the payment of dividends, or the conflict that arises between the majority shareholders and the minority shareholders. And they also, which in most cases, they stem from the fiduciary duty. So directors of a company, they have a legal duty to act in the best interest of a company and that of the shareholders. So the dispute can arise if the shareholders believe that the directors have breached this duty. With regard to the resolution, there are various resolutive methods that the shareholders may take. Firstly, we need to establish whether there is a shareholders agreement in place and what the content of that shareholders agreement say with regard to the dispute between the shareholders. And secondly, we look at the memorandum of incorporation and look at what it actually say with regard to dispute which arises between the shareholders. And in most cases, in either the shareholders agreement or the memorandum of incorporation, it will have a provision that provides for the negotiations between the shareholders through meetings in order to try and amicably resolve the dispute. If the dispute cannot be resolved, or if the shareholders agreement or the MOI does not make provision for negotiations, it can make provision for mediation, wherein a neutral person will be brought to the party to mediate and assist in finding a solution which will be or may be acceptable by both disputing parties. And lastly, which is found in most shareholders agreement and memorandum of incorporation, is the arbitration clause. So the arbitration clause is normally followed when both parties have exhausted all other internal or consensus-seeking remedies, such as the negotiations and mediation, because arbitration is more formal than the other dispute resolution measures that I've just mentioned.
Olebogeng, how can shareholders prevent disputes from arising in the first place?
Shareholders can prevent a dispute from arising by firstly maintaining a good relationship. Shareholders' relationship is very important in a company, and also the success of the company. So if the shareholders does not have a good relationship, then obviously it will affect the success of the company. But the steps that the shareholders can take to prevent the dispute from arising is to have a clear and comprehensive shareholders agreement, maintaining open communication, establishing the framework for decision making.
What role can a shareholders agreement play in resolving disputes? Our final question for today.
A well-constructed or drafted shareholders agreement can provide mechanisms for resolving the disputes, such as the mediation or arbitration clause. And it can also outline the procedures for buying out certain dissenting shareholders.
Okay, and that's legal talk for today. Olebogeng, thank you for shedding some light on the matter. We appreciate your input and time.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Are you or your business in trouble and struggling to find a solution? Call Hahn Hahn Attorneys as we assist clients in finding solutions. We specialize in consumer and food law, commercial and construction law, forensic investigations and administrative law. Visit hahnlaw.co.za. That's HAHN. We assist clients nationwide. Hahn Hahn Attorneys, because we care. Don't miss Legal Talk with Hahn Hahn Attorneys, Wednesday mornings at 10 on eRadio.